Hi everybody and welcome to today's Chinese Pod lesson. I'm Joe.
大家好，我是庆林，欢迎来到中文播客。
Today we are talking about means of transport and in particular how you buy tickets for these. In a big country as China is, you probably have pretty much every means of transport you can imagine. For example,
高铁、
which is the high-speed rail,
飞机、
which would be a plane. So let's check out the dialogue and see what kind of tickets we are going to buy today.
一张火车票，
到哪儿？
我要去深圳，1号去，3号回来。
来，
一张火车票，
到哪儿？
我要去深圳，1号去，3号回来。
来，
一张火车票，
到哪儿？
我要去深圳，1号去，3号回来。
来，
So we are going to buy a train ticket. Let's check it out line by line.
一张火车票，
One train ticket.
一张火车票，
One train ticket.
一张火车票。到哪儿？
Where to?
到哪儿？
Where to?
到哪儿？我要去深圳。
I want to go to Shenzhen.
我要去深圳。
I want to go to Shenzhen.
我要去深圳。1号去，3号回来。
Going on the first, coming back on the third.
1号去，3号回来。
Going on the first and coming back on the third.
1号去，3号回来。来，
Here you go.
来，
Here you go.
来。
The dialogue starts immediately at the ticket counter. So the customer comes in and says, "Oh, one train ticket, please." So here we have the word train ticket, which in Chinese is made up of two words, and the first is train,
火车，火车，
and this word is made up actually itself out of two words, which is fire and car. So together it's fire car, the train, because like from the old times, a steam engine where we still had to heat it ourselves, the fire car, the train. And then we have this together with the word for ticket.
票，票，
And then together it's the train ticket.
火车票。
And in front of train ticket, we have this one.
一张，
So normally, if you count 1, 2, 3, E would just be one, just E. But here we have this 张 as well, and this is a measure word. So we use this measure word because in Chinese we have to use measure words whenever we have to count something. So in English we don't have to use these, but in Chinese we do have. And 张 is used for things like paper, like sheets of paper. So in English, for paper, we would have that as well.
一张纸，
So this would be a sheet of paper. But for other things that are paper-like or flat things, we use this measurement word as well, although we wouldn't have to use it in English. So one ticket is,
一张票。
that's one ticket. It's like one sheet of ticket, actually. So Jingling, what would be some other tickets that we can buy?
一张地铁票，
Oh, one ticket for the subway.
一张船票，
A ticket for the boat or ship. Oh, I have another one. Like a movie ticket.
哦，一张电影票，
But here we are going to buy a train ticket.
火车票。
And then in the dialogue, the counter clerk is like, "So, where to? Where do you want to go?"
到哪儿？
So the counter clerk here uses the word 到, which means to arrive, or sometimes just to go to or to. And this here is together with where.
到哪儿？
So this means where to, or where do you want to go to. So what would happen if I, for example, want to buy a subway ticket and he asks me like which station? What would this sound like?
哦，到哪一站
Oh, okay. So 站 is station, right?
？Yes，
And then what was the other word in front of 站?
到哪一站
Oh, 哪一 which, and then 站 station. So which station to? And we can use this word arrive as arrive in other words as well. For example, when we want to say something like I'm arriving home.
我到家，
Or I arrive at school,
我到学校，
or the company maybe.
我到公司，
So 到, keep in mind, just generally means to arrive. That's the most original meaning of this. So the clerk here uses the word 到, but we could find this question, like where do you want to go to, with another verb used as well.
去，去哪儿？
So here we have the verb 去, which is to go. So they're very similar but slightly different. So 到 has a focus more on to arrive somewhere, and 去 is to go somewhere. But here in this case, because the point is where are you going to, like which is your destination, where do you want to buy a ticket for, we can say both. The customer then uses this to go verb in his answer as well.
我要去深圳，
So here we have the city name,
深圳，深圳，
so that's the first and the fourth tone. And then we have a combination of two verbs here in front of the city name. So we have the first, which we just learned, is to go.
去，去，
And then there is another verb in front, which means to want something, or we use that to express will.
要，要，
So together this is two fourth tones.
要去，
Yeah.
要去，
So this means I want to go to, or I will go to. So here would be I want to go to Shenzhen. Similar to the question from the clerk before, the customer could use this to arrive in his answer as well.
我要到深圳，
So because the focus here is on the destination which you want to buy a ticket for, you could use 到 instead of 去, and it would be pretty much the same meaning. But let's go back to the 去 a little bit and practice this a little bit in some questions. So I'll ask you a question first.
好，
你等一下要去哪里？
我要去机场。
So you will go to the airport.
Joe，你要去哪儿？
I want to go to the train station.
哦，你要去车站。
So then the customer goes on and tells the clerk, like, when does he want to travel?
1号去，3号回来。
So going on the first and leaving or coming back on the third. Here we are talking about dates now, and dates are rather easy in Chinese because you just have a number and then you add to it 号. So for example, the first then becomes
1号、
and the third would be
3号。
And besides these dates, we only have some verbs here. So we have the one verb we already know, which is to go.
去，
So then he goes on the first one.
1号去，
And then there's another verb which is made up of two words actually. So we have this one word which is to return
回
and paired together with to come.
来，
And together there's like to return come, so to come back.
回来，3号回来。
So he wants to come back on the third. In Chinese, we actually often find these words that are made up of a verb and then together with come and go.
来，去，
So if we have here to come back as one word,
回来，
we have another word that means to go back as well.
回去。
So remember that you can find these pairs very often in Chinese. Do we have some other examples for this come and go, 来 and 去?
Oh, I have one.
Okay.
你出去。
出去! In the end, the counter clerk uses the word to come in another way.
来，
So that would be the Chinese equivalent of here you go. But it's more like, or you can imagine it as like, here comes your ticket.
来，
So after discussing all this, let's go back to the dialogue again.
一张火车票，
到哪儿？
我要去深圳，1号去，3号回来。
来，
一张火车票，
到哪儿？
我要去深圳，1号去，3号回来。
来，
一张火车票，
到哪儿？
我要去深圳，1号去，3号回来。
来，
Today you have learned how you can buy tickets and how you can say that you want to go to a certain place. And we discussed a little bit about the verbs that come often together with come and go. And we figured that if you have a pet at home, you are actually very, very lucky because you can practice these things with your dog, for example. So if you want him to come out of somewhere, you could say
出来，
or if you want him to go out from a certain place,
出去，
like leave. Okay, and if you want him then to come back
回来，
and to go back again
回去，
and
回来，
and
回去。
so that never gets boring and you get your practice as well. So if you have any questions on this, let us know in the comments below. My name is Joe.
我是庆林，
下次见
拜
拜拜
拜。
Now, here's a vocabulary recap.
火车
Train,
票
ticket,
到
to arrive,
深圳，
Shenzhen,
回来。
to come back.
Introducing Chinese Pod Recap, the app with fast summary lessons. How much time do you have? Join us in the beta program. For more info, go to ChinesePod.com/recap.